Welcome to Designing Purpose, your guide to finding and pursuing the career you were meant for, with me, life and career coach Brooke Cretz. Want to know the scariest part about leaving your job? The unknowing of what's next. But what if it were possible to leave the job you hate and pursue something that feeds your soul while still meeting your financial goals? On Designing Purpose, I will guide you step by step to leave jobs that no longer serve you and connect to the career and life you were meant for. Join in for powerful stories, examples, and guidance to go from feeling stuck in the unknowing to confidently transitioning to your next career. The Designing Purpose show starts now. So if you've been watching Designing Purpose, you saw that in the first 4 episodes, we talked all about the sticky and layered reasons we stay in jobs that aren't for us and how we can confidently and surely walk away from them in order to pursue what we are actually meant for. We've also helped our brain to slow down and not jump to the end as it so wants to do by answering these 4 simple questions throughout. Am I disconnected from my purpose? Are the reasons I am avoiding leaving my job actually lies? Can I let go of the should selves that are separating me from new and better possibilities? And are the challenges I'm facing in my job systemic? If the answers to all of these questions were yes, then congratulations. You are at the absolutely perfect place to actually connect with your purpose. And we will spend the next 4 episodes talking all about this, including the guidelines for connecting with what you're meant to do, how to overcome old ways of working, thinking, and being for that ultimate fulfillment, the best ways to fuse your unique strengths, passions, values, and motivations, and facilitating confidence and readiness for the many forms of resistance that will inevitably come up. So this is the exciting part, right? The fun stuff, all that eat, pray, love, warm, glowing goodness that lights us up and makes us whole. This is the real stuff of life. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so sorry. I totally forgot. I double booked and I actually have a new client call right now. Just give me a minute and stay with me while I take this real quick and we'll get right down to all the good stuff in this episode. Hi, Andrea. It's so good to meet you. Hi, Brooke. Thank you. I've been watching all your videos and you have just really inspired me to let go of my old job. And now I'd love your help finding what I'm meant to do. Oh my gosh, that's so great. That's literally my job. Tell me more about the job you left and what really motivated that shift for you. Yeah, it was a job in customer service for one of the national mailing services. And I just realized I was doing it for the wrong reasons. My boss really didn't value me and the pay was just not what I need right now. Well, that's great. I'm so proud of you for, yeah. So I've already been looking at lots of job postings and talking to people to see what I could do. And oh, okay. Yeah, and there's this great role at another mailing company that would be a step up. So I'd have more management responsibilities and the pay would be better. But then someone else was telling me that there might actually be this role in customer service for this restaurant chain I really like, which could be a lot of fun because I've never worked in the food service side of things. And it could be a neat challenge for me. Plus, it looks like they have a great perk system too, which my old job didn't really have. Oh, wow. Okay. But then my husband keeps telling me that I have the potential to be what my boss's boss does and that I should go back to management school because I could totally do that job. And that would mean better benefits for our family, which could be really helpful. So anyway, nothing's for certain yet, but I just really wanted to get your take on what I should do and which of these jobs I should take next. Oh, well, it sounds to me that you'd be very qualified for any of these and that you certainly have the capabilities. But do you think you might just be looking at some of them because they're what you know of and seem safe? How would you feel about exploring other options and staying open to what could be? Other options? Like what? Sales? Well, tell me about some of what you've enjoyed in previous jobs you've had. Well, in college, I was a camp counselor in the summers, and I just loved being with the kids, playing games, helping them learn life skills, and seeing their true confidence come through. Yeah, I can imagine that really fulfilled your need for connection, nurturing, teaching, creativity, and play when you, yeah, but those camp counselor positions don't hardly pay anything. And I really need a competitive benefits package in my next role. I completely get that and support that. I'm just trying to understand more of when you fill out your best so we can start to get a better sense of what those tell us about who you are and what you're meant to do and how you're meant to support others. Okay, so what job would have all the teaching, creative, playful stuff that I could still earn 80K a year? Could you connect me to someone doing that? Well, I would still want to know more about you and see how we could better develop this out and understand the nuances of it and how you work best, which would then allow us to experiment more and discover what it is you're actually meant for. But I mean, I've looked out there and there are no jobs that do this and earn 80K a year. I've been searching LinkedIn for months now. And since I have to find my new job in the next month, I need something I can find right now. I totally understand that, and I am willing to help you find a job that meets your financial needs in the meantime, as I do with many of my clients. But it will probably take about 3 to 6 months to really get a sense of what it is you're best suited for and would thrive doing. Would you be willing to commit to that? I mean, do you think we could do it sooner than like 1 or 2 sessions? I mean, think about how long you've been unhappy in your job and knew you needed to make a change, but haven't quite been able to understand what that role is or how it will allow you to be fulfilled and financially stable. This process takes time, but my number one goal is to support you to this place so you find a path you want to stick with in the long term and don't end up unhappy again a year down the line. Okay, so like in those 3 to 6 months, what would we be doing exactly? Well, it's never an exact science, but I would want to get a much better sense of who you are, experiences where you felt whole, how you work best, and what your real core why is underneath all of this. And then we can begin to build an experimentation plan so you can test out some of the roles within this in very low risk and low cost ways before we commit to your true paths. In the end, you will either be in a new role or career for you, or starting a business that allows you to do exactly what you were meant for. And is there like a weekly framework, steps I'm following? Loosely, yes, but I can't promise you it will be 100% stepwise since each person I work with is so different and needs different support on their purpose journey. Okay, then I guess I can commit to 6 months and see what's possible and where I'll go next. That's so great. I'm really looking forward to working with you. And even though it feels really uncertain now, I promise you that the puzzle pieces will start coming together faster than you might think. All right. Hey, Brooke, one last question. Yeah? So then, do you think I should take that restaurant customer service job? So this is not an exact conversation I have had, but it is a version of how some people do come to me when they've either quit their jobs or are about to quit their jobs very soon and are looking to connect their purpose. And what I have found is that more often than not, when it comes to pursuing our next steps, we really deeply want it to be 3 things. We want it to be fast. We have been severely conditioned to move to our next jobs and next opportunities quickly for so long that when it comes to really stepping into our true life's purpose, we think it should be the same. And don't get me wrong, I completely understand the impetus for this when it comes to earning the salary and benefits you need to support yourself and your family. The giant downside of this urgency to find what we are meant to do and start doing it is that we greatly limit ourselves and the opportunities available to us because we are so focused on what is right in front of us and available right now. The thing is, when we don't give this process time and space, we default to what we know and what is safe. And that means that we usually end up right back in the same place of anxiety, frustration, and purpose disconnection because we didn't take the time we needed to listen to ourselves, reconnect to when we felt at our best, and how we might lean into those things moving forward while unleashing ourselves from old ways of thinking and narratives that kept us stuck in the first place. That's the reason I don't recommend 1 or 2 sessions like Andrea suggested. Not because I'm greedy or egocentric and think you need much more of me, but it's because connecting to your purpose is not plug and play. It's a longer process of uncovering who you are and casting aside all the other crap and things people have told you that have kept you down. And that leads me to the second thing we really want our purpose connection process to be. We want it to be neat and clear. Okay, fine. It's going to take 3 to 6 months, whatever. Just tell me the exact steps and milestones I need to follow so I know exactly what I need to do to connect to my purpose and start pursuing what I am meant to do. Again, we've been conditioned for this all our lives. You go to school, you major in your specialization you want, you take your first job in this specialization, learn from a mentor, and move up to increasing responsibility and opportunities. We begin to think that anything else should be the same. There must be some magical or secret formula out there that we can follow so we know how each step connects, what milestones we can expect to reach, and where we are going next. Years ago, when I first started coaching, I thought my approach would be exactly like that. Clear, milestone-based, and progressive until people met their goals. That is until I actually started coaching and realized how utterly unrealistic and actually unhelpful that was for the people I coached. That's because if we commit to a single path based on some limited information I gather about them, in Andrea's case that she liked her experiences camp counseling and said, all right, we are going to follow a path of you as a camp counselor director, where you get to be at camp, but still earning your income targets. We're doing a gross disservice to her because we're disregarding all the other parts of who she is and how she works best, which might allow us to see some unexpected but brilliant opportunities for her that we could have never imagined at the beginning. And also, Andrea comes with her own set of learned beliefs, fears, doubts, and other mindsets that, if not properly worked through in coaching, can cause her a lot of pain down the road and ultimately keep her stuck in some of the same cycles she's been in when she hasn't felt fulfilled in her purpose. Therefore, not having a clear step-by-step formula isn't lazy or unthoughtful. It's actually specifically designed to support you, the whole you, to live to your highest potential. This leads me to the third thing we want purpose connection to be, which is we want it to be linear. Again, I would love to tell you that once we commit to your purpose connection, that everything we do will build upon each other in this logical and sensical way and will carry us all the way to your next career or business venture. But again, over years of coaching experience, I found that's not how it works. We'll get ideas that we're super excited about, follow them in small and low risk ways, and realize it wasn't actually what we thought it would be. We'll get stoked about launching a business vertical that ends up not following the plan we had laid out and becomes something else entirely. But you know what usually happens when things don't turn out like we expected during the purpose journey? It almost always teaches us something we didn't know and will actually be able to capitalize on for another idea or path that allows for greater fulfillment and income earning potential. And it is almost always so much better than we had planned it to be. And that is really the most fun part of the purpose journey, getting us to places we never could have dreamed of if we stuck to a traditional, safe, and linear path. We see now that what we want the purpose connection process to be is actually not helpful to us and doesn't provide the results or fulfillment we expect it to. So then what will? What are the actual guidelines to connecting to your purpose in a meaningful and effective way? It's actually the antidote to each of these things we want it to be. So when we want it to be fast, what we actually need is to create space and patience. When we want it to be neat and clear, what we actually need is to cultivate curiosity and exploration. And when we want it to be linear, what we actually need is to practice trust of ourselves, our journeys, and our timing. Throughout this episode, I will explain how to facilitate each of these using Andrea as an illustrative example. And as always, I would love you to honestly answer this one question by the end of the episode. Can I give myself permission to create space, cultivate curiosity, and practice self-trust as I connect to my true purpose? Let's get started with creating space and patience. There is no shortcut to finding and pursuing your purpose if you do not create the time and space for it, even if it is really just 10 or 15 minutes a day. And why is this time and space so important? Because our worlds and our minds are very, very noisy. There are so many narratives, beliefs, and ideas that we are absorbing throughout the day, whether or not we are even fully conscious of them. And the more we continue to just grind through our days, checking off to-do list items and striving toward this almost addictive sense of feeling productive, the more we're just hearing and filtering without listening and internalizing. So what does having time and space for purpose connection look like? Do we need to go to these silent meditation retreats or burn incense or sit on our yoga mats in lotus pose waiting for answers? And if those are your things, then by all means, don't let me stop you. But creating time and space is actually much, much simpler than that. It's doing those small and simple things that feel like you, completely free of distractions. If you feel you're a naturally creative person, but have never quite hit your creative groove or rarely have time to create, do a simple craft, art project, or simply doodle on a page in a notebook during your purpose space. If you love music, listen to some super nourishing music, whether that's groups whose sounds you really gravitate towards, or music that reminds you of a certain time in your life that you love to return to, like the early 2000s for me. If you have enjoyed nature, put your phone on airplane mode and wander a new trail by yourself. If you love animals, spend time with them, whether it's your own, visiting a shelter, or other spaces where animals are cared for. Don't really even know what your thing is anymore? Don't worry. Do not overcomplicate this. There's no way you can mess this up as long as you commit to no distractions or obligations which pull you out of it, and whatever you're doing is just for you. I frankly don't care what it is. Go get some ice cream, go rollerblading, have a mini dance party in your backyard, go for a drive in a new part of town, experiment and play with this. That's the whole point. So, okay, what is the point of this anyway? Is it like stress relief? Is this just a 15-minute low-cost alternative to getting a massage? The truth is, this time and space is so much more than that. Because what's a little crazy is that for most of us, we are rarely giving ourselves the time and permission to do things that feel like us at the core of who we really are. Most of the time, we are either doing things out of obligation for other people or because we feel like there are certain things we should be doing. Remember those should selves from episode 3? And when we do take time for ourselves, it's typically just for recovery purposes. Lying down to catch up on some shows, reading, getting a workout and a shower in, etc. And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with these things, in fact, I do highly encourage them in moderation, these are actually not nourishing you and connecting you to who you are. They're more just general maintenance for being a human. And when you do begin even very small things that feel like you and stick with it, crazy things will begin happening for you, I swear. You might be driving down the road and hit with a crazy, brilliant idea or role you want to pursue that you never even thought of. You'll start to see certain connections between different things you've done and how you want to fuse those into something new for your next career path. You'll get little clips of visions of you doing things you don't quite understand yet, but make you curious enough to explore. And how do I know all this? Because I've seen it happen a million times, both for myself and for so many clients I have worked with. And while it almost sounds way too simple to be true, think about all the many and sometimes sneaky ways that we deny ourselves this. Oh, it's not productive. I could be doing other things. Oh, I'll never get anywhere in 15 minutes. This is a waste of time. I need to go get my kids and take them to practice. I'll do it a different day. I'm too tired to do anything right now. Let's go back to our example of Andrea and imagine that while she didn't really know what felt like her, she knew she liked nature and started taking walks to this pond by her house. She felt really silly at first and was thinking of all the things she needed to get done after this purpose space was over. One evening while down by the pond, she was struck with a memory of singing with her kids at camp. She started softly singing one of her songs, and the memory made her so excited that soon she was belting that song out across the lake. She realized how good that felt and how she used to feel that way all the time. And it actually got her thinking that maybe some of her former colleagues could use this in their lives. Without that space, those ideas and inspirations, even if not fully formed yet, may have never come to Andrea, and we would have just been taking the most convenient path for her. That's why when connecting to our purpose, the first thing we need to tell ourselves is, I give myself permission to have time and space to discover what I am meant to do. This leads us to the second set of conditions for purpose connection: curiosity and exploration. Remember the opposite of these conditions, going down that neat and clear path of applying for jobs or a traditional networking framework? When we are given that time and space with no clear or certain endpoint visible, it can send us directly into panic mode. So we cling to what's safe and secure, but that leaves us right back to feeling unfulfilled, resentful, and sometimes miserable. The antidote to this is to have lots of fun with getting curious and exploring who you are and what you could be, not fitting yourself into jobs you know that exist or that you could see yourself doing, but don't really light you up. This can be nearly impossible for our brains at first. For example, even if Andrea knows she enjoyed being a camp counselor because it allowed her to nurture kids, be creative and playful, and have tons of fun in the process, her brain will also immediately begin to list all the actual jobs that she can do utilizing these passions, because having fun and being playful is not a job, Missy. It can become paralyzing because we'll start holding ourselves back the minute something feels unattainable, confusing, uncertain, or just flatly impossible. Let's imagine we encourage Andrea to get curious and explore what she discovered during her purpose space, even though getting excited about singing a song she remembered from 20 years ago seems like it would lead absolutely nowhere. When asked about what it brought up for her, she might say, "It made me feel free and defiant, like when we were kids again. The song was all about being yourself and not caring what other people thought of you. I realized how many people I work with who would bend over backwards to try to prove and make the boss and others like them when they, sorry, I start that over. I realized how many people I work with who would bend over backwards to try to make our boss and others like them when they have nothing they need to prove. And what would you want for them to experience to realize this, I might ask? Well, honestly, just to spend time by the water being goofy, singing, and celebrating with other people doing the same thing." Ooh, I love that. Do you think you could follow that curiosity and invite a few friends down to the water to do just that? What? Just tell them we're going to sing songs? How would that help me that it's not a paying job? Well, you could explain the reasoning behind it and what you would want people to know through it. Don't attach. Trust your curiosity and see where it leads you. Okay. Sounds crazy, but I'll do it. When we detach from what we know and the need to make something into a cohesive job right away, we limit ourselves exponentially. It's one of the biggest and hardest to overcome stumbling blocks I see coaching clients encounter. And the crazy counterintuitive thing about it is that it actually keeps us stuck for more time and farther away from our purpose than when we just do the messy work of following what we love for no apparent reason. Every single time myself and those I have worked with have done this, it has always led to concrete data about their actually sustainable purpose in some really beautiful and magical ways. That is why when we connect to our purpose, we also must tell ourselves, I give myself permission to not attach or try to fit myself into existing jobs or things I know of to explore all that I am. This brings us to the final, and I might argue the most important set of conditions for effective purpose connection, and that is trust. Trusting yourself, your process, and your timing. So many of us lack trust in ourselves. We've relied for so long on other people to tell us how we should do things, what the best, most guaranteed, successful path is, and we become so afraid that if we follow our own instincts or ideas for doing something, especially if it's something new to us, that we will irrevocably fail and face embarrassment, shame, and financial insecurity. Let's go back to Andrea's example. After inviting a few people to the water for camp songs and thinking it would be a complete flop, she was shocked when those people had such a good time that the next week, 15 more joined in. She started to realize the need for this fun, playfulness, and connection. and asked the group if they'd be willing to join her for a half-day nature retreat she would lead for a small fee. People were eager and ready to sign up. Slowly, she began hosting small nature retreats, which were enjoyable, but after some time, she didn't quite feel fulfilled, and her attendance was also dropping. She was worried she had once again not chosen the right path for her, and that she was right back in the same place. She had followed her curiosity, and it had literally paid off. Why did she still feel like something wasn't quite right? She realized that although the camaraderie was nice, these half-day retreats were so close to where they lived and also so short that people didn't really get the reset that they needed in life. Other things kept getting in the way, which is why fewer people kept attending. She felt like she had failed. Again, while sitting by the water, she was suddenly struck by the thought of these tall white mountains. Although it seemed a bit of a departure from what she was offering, she thought, what if I started organizing 2-week-long international retreats focused on nature, adventure, and play? It was certainly a risk, but this became the realization of her truest and greatest fulfillment and translated into a highly profitable business venture as well. When we trust ourselves and where things are leading us, even if it makes little to no sense at the time and we think we've completely botched everything, I guarantee that 9 out of 10 times you will look back and see how perfectly everything connected as it was meant to, and often in better, more fulfilling, and more financially profitable ways than you could have planned for. So then the final thing we must tell ourselves when connecting to our purpose is, I give myself permission to trust myself, trust my process, and trust my timing, even when it doesn't yet make sense in the moment. This brings us back to the initial question of the episode. Can I give myself permission to create space, cultivate curiosity, and embody self-trust as I connect to my true purpose? Let's go back to my initial conversation with Andrea. She wanted everything fast, clear, and linear to understand exactly what career or business venture she was meant to do and how she was meant to do it. But let's review what she got instead. Time and patience to realize how fun and freeing it can be to sing by the lake. Curiosity and exploration to start hosting half-day nature retreats. And trust in herself, her journey, and her timing to launch an adventure travel company. And now think to yourselves, which of these would you prefer? To slot yourself into something known, safe, and available right now? Or to embark on a slightly longer and more uncertain, but wildly more fun and fulfilling journey? I know which one I would absolutely love for you. In the coming episodes, we will talk so much more about this, including breaking old ways of working, thinking, or being for ultimate fulfillment in your next career or venture, the best ways to fuse your strengths, passions, values, and motivations for a cohesive next step, and facilitating the confidence and readiness for the resistance that might come up when we lean into our purpose. As always, I am so excited to be with you on this journey. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. You have been listening to Designing Purpose, your guide to finding and pursuing the career you were meant for. If you are curious to navigate the unknowns keeping you stuck in your job and confidently discover and pursue the career you were meant for, tune in every second and fourth Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on transformationtalkradio.com, where I give straightforward and practical guidance to facilitate your next career move. For more information, visit www.thepurposefulpractice.com.